And welcome. We have some people on. We'll just let everyone else who wants to join can let themselves in, so we don't have to worry about that. But I'm glad you took the time to hop on, and I just wanted to welcome everyone. If this is your first meditation practice, then you will hopefully find a little bit out about what you need. And as my meditation guru used to say to me, what you need is you don't need much. So that's always what I try to remember, especially if I'm rushing around thinking, oh, I don't have time to meditate today. Well, what you need is you don't need much. You don't even need much time if you don't have time. Ideally, a meditation practice could be about 20 minutes long, maybe twice a day. But sometimes that's just not possible. And especially in the beginning, if you're just starting out with a meditation practice, that can feel like a really long time. 40 minutes total. That's a long time to sit quietly with nothing but yourself for company when you're not used to it, or if you're having a bad day, or if you have some trauma or any sort of conflict. So that said, we're going to sit for about 20 minutes today, but you can come in and out of that. Feel free to scratch your nose or stretch your legs. Another myth of meditation, I think, is that you have to sit in lotus pose and be completely still and kind of in this plane where you're above distraction, which is also unrealistic and completely unreliable. Our lives don't work that way usually. I've already been visited by my dog who scratched the door to get in and then scratched the door to get out. So things like that happen. Anyway, when you are beginning a meditation practice, I would say that maybe you can start with no more than 10 minutes. That can feel like a long time. Set your timer. Don't try to assume that you know what 10 minutes feels like. If you have tried 10 minutes and that is just not happening, it's way too long, 5 minutes. Work your way up. I guarantee that if you spend a little bit of time every day creating a space where you can sit and at least be silent, even if it's hard to relax, at least allow yourself to be silent. We have so much noise in our lives and our phones are going off and all of that. So try to find a sense of stillness, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. If you can do it twice a day, even better. A few other tips if you're just starting out: probably do not meditate right after a meal, especially a large meal. You don't want to be hungry. You don't want to hear your stomach kind of gnawing, but you also don't want to be too full. So that's a little tip. Sometimes right before breakfast is a really great time to just take a few minutes for yourself. And you can sit or lay down in whatever position you want to. I think that the image we have of someone who meditates is someone who's sitting cross-legged. That is not possible for everyone. And it should not be the standard that we set. So find a comfortable chair, or if you prefer sitting on the floor, sit on the floor. Sit on a pillow. You can lay down. If you've been here before, I have a little pet peeve about laying down. You can recline. Laying down completely often leads to sleep. And so here comes my dad joke. I don't call that meditation. I call it meditation. If you've heard it before and you're laughing, thank you for that. I say it a lot. But anyway, find a place where you are comfortable and make yourself even more comfortable, because since you're going to be sitting there for a while, if the arm of that chair feels constricting, then scoot over. If you're cold, grab a blanket. I have got a blanket. I am always cold. If your dog is on your lap and it is getting in your way, see if you can move him, things like that. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel as comfortable as you can. And knowing that you've taken that time to do that, understand that you may become uncomfortable over the next few minutes. So you can shift. You can, if your ankles are crossed and all of a sudden that's uncomfortable, uncross them. Whatever position you choose to begin your meditation practice, you don't have to stay there. Invariably your nose will itch, or your hair will get in your way, or you'll just feel like you have to change positions, and that's fine. So give yourself permission to fidget if you have to. So there, now that you're settled in, hopefully we can move on to the next component of a meditation practice. Often is mantra. If you have a mantra and you want to repeat your mantra as you're meditating, that's fine. But if you don't have one, that's fine too. You don't need one. You can create one for yourself, which is, it can be any word that you like, that is meaningful to you, that has some sense of meaning, a pride of place, anything that feels good for you to say. It can be a phrase. A lot of people say, everything will be okay. Or I am. Some people say peace or om. So if you have that word or phrase, then just invite it to come in. If you have a mantra that was handed down to you, or that you were given in some way, then you can also make room for that mantra. And if you don't have a mantra and you would like to just sit quietly, then that's fine too. Sometimes when you're sitting quietly, all of a sudden a phrase or a word or a sound will come to you, and go ahead and allow that in. The mantra is used as a way to begin your meditation practice. It helps you settle in. And then anytime you might feel your thoughts wandering, you can circle back to that mantra. So let's just say your mantra is Om, and you repeat it a few times. As you start to settle in, maybe you feel your body start to sink, get a little heavier, and start to relax. And then you remember you forgot to start the dryer. That's the time when you might say Om, bring it back around. You can start the dryer later. It's not, your house isn't on fire. Or any other distraction. Your dog barks, your cat scratches the furniture, your horn blares somewhere. Anything that disrupts your sense of stillness, come back to the mantra and just say it again until you can find that settling. So those are probably, I think, the top things that people wonder about when they're beginning a meditation practice. So let me check the time. Okay, so we're gonna start, get my timer. I do use my timer just because I don't want to go too far over, and it will be 20 minutes today. At any point in time during those 20 minutes, if it just feels like that's just too long, then you can maybe blink your eyes open if they're closed, maybe sit quietly, try to be mindful of the maybe the sounds and the scents around you, and play a little mindfulness game as to what things you hear beyond the quiet, or what things you hear that maybe are really noisy that you do not attach judgment to. So we take any attachment to a noise or a sound or a feeling. And we remove that, because all of these things are allowed to exist. Your feelings are allowed. The horn honking is allowed. All of these things are allowed to exist alongside your stillness. So you being still and the siren are allowed. We don't have to attach judgment that the siren has now ruined your attempt at meditation. It just is. Okay, so we're going to begin. Find that comfortable space if you haven't already. I have a cushion up against this chest of drawers, which is really pretty comfortable, even though it might not look like it. And full disclosure, just before I clicked start, I noticed I still have a Christmas tree up there, so I got to get that out of there. You can clasp your hands, you can cup your hands in your lap. If you have a certain hand motion or mudra, that you like to do, go ahead and do that, understanding that it doesn't have to be for the full time. If you start out like this and all of a sudden that just feels like it's not working anymore, you can wiggle your fingers and just lay them on your lap, on top of your thighs. And the same for your feet. If you're sitting down and you want to cross your ankles, go ahead, or your feet can be flat on the floor. There really is no right or wrong way to be, as long as you feel good. And from here, we're just going to take a few breaths in. So take a breath in, just your normal breath. In through your nose, out through your nose, and do that a few times. So it doesn't have to be, any sort of a breath that we're working on here. Just in through your nose, out through your nose. Maybe one more. And notice maybe on the next breath where that breath began. Do you feel it in your belly? Do you feel it up more into your chest? And if you feel it up high, try to send it down so that the belly expands. The belly gets nice and soft and full and round. I like to bring the picture into my head of those old master paintings where the women had these really soft, voluptuous bellies. Imagine your breath moving down into your belly between your hip bones and allowing that softness release your abdominal muscles. Let that breath go with a sigh. We'll do two more. Breathe in. Let it go. If you want to close your eyes at any time, go ahead. Sometimes mine just naturally close. Breathe in. Let that go. And then if they're not closed already, just start to maybe cast your gaze down. And of course, if closing your eyes doesn't feel safe, then you do not have to close your eyes. You can look down or you can look to a middle distance. But just begin to maybe cast your gaze down towards your lap, towards the floor, whatever's down in front of you. And breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. And if you'd like to go ahead and close your eyes just for a few moments and then blink them open again. You can continue to look down or you can look up. And then again, just cast your gaze down. Maybe allow your eyes to close, take a breath in. Let it go however you want, out through your nose or with a sigh. And then blink your eyes open and look up. So we'll do this one more time, but when we close our eyes or keep them looking down, we're going to stay that way. So bring your gaze down. If it feels appropriate and safe, Here, you can go ahead and close your eyes. When you close your eyes, try to release the muscles in your face. So the brow, the muscles around the eyes, your sinuses and your cheeks, the bridge of your nose. Release your nostrils and all the muscles around your mouth and your jaw and your chin. Allow your face to just go heavy, slack, holding no tension, no engagement. We'll come back to your breath, just enough to allow it to settle. Your breath while you're meditating will naturally find its own cadence. And if you have a mantra, or you have thought of a word that's meaningful or sensible for you, then you can begin that. And just invite that word or phrase into your practice. You can repeat it a few times or several times. And then you can let it go. Just let it drift. If that doesn't feel good to you, then keep repeating it. Sometimes I repeat my mantra the entire time. But if you feel distracted, invite that word or phrase or sound to come back and start repeating it again until you feel you can let it go again. It doesn't matter how many times you might have to do that. And because I'm here, you don't have to worry about the time. I'm going to take care of that. You have nowhere to be but right here. And you have nothing to do but breathe. I will mind the time. just begin to bring some attention to your breath without changing it. And start to become aware of your surroundings. Maybe the weight of the blanket, if you've got one covering your legs, or just how your back feels against the sofa or chair. And allow yourself to maybe become aware of any sounds or scents. Especially if you have any sounds in nature. So wherever you are, if you can hear birds chirping or rain falling or any of that sort of, leaves rustling. And if you still feel that your mantra is, kind of swirling in your head or at the front of your thoughts, just allow it to go. Allow it to pass. And you can drop your chin to your chest. And then blink your eyes open. Just stay here, get used to the light in your room. And when you're ready, you can lift your head. So sometimes after we've been sitting for a little bit, we can start to feel a little bound or stuck. So just bring some movement into your shoulders, some movement that just feels good to you. So it can be kind of random. But you can make it a really small movement. It can just be something like this, or you can do something bigger where you get more of maybe your shoulders or your arms involved. Maybe flex and extend the spine a little bit. Anything that feels like you are coming back into yourself, like you are arriving to meet yourself back where you left yourself when we started. Sometimes it's nice just to sway the spine. And then there you go. You can go about your day. All of that becomes second nature the more that you do it. So the more often you make time to meditate, the more often you can kind of sink into this stillness, or I want to say the easier, that's not really the right word, but the more, I guess, easefully you can sink into, or at least invite this feeling of stillness into your day, into your time. No one is not changed by finding a few minutes during the day to call their own and to kind of shut everything off, like shut the world around you down. So I hope that you found some sort of value in this kind of intro to meditation today. You can always ask me any questions, or you can direct them to the people at OMS and they can get them to me if you have a burning question. Otherwise, I am back on, I am February 1st, I believe, is a yoga class, and it is about the vagus nerve. So I'm excited about that. The vagus nerve is one of 12 cranial nerves, and it splits off all throughout your body, starts at your head, ends up in your large intestine, and it kind of swirls around all sorts of organs. It's responsible for digestion, for sleep, for respiration. It's an interesting little nerve. So we'll be activating that. So anyway, thank you again. Thanks so much. I appreciate your participation. Okay, one question. I'd love to do the vagus nerve session again, but cannot find the recording. Is that are you talking about the missing link or the overcoming MS? Because I think I've done it for both. Let's see. If it's in the missing link, which is Dr. Gretchen's, page or site program, I should be in with those classes. I will have to go back through my notes and check if I did that for OMS, because I do not recall. But if you're a member of the missing link, you can find it in those classes. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's probably in the missing link, and I will ask Gretchen, and she or I will reach out to you about that, because yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, I couldn't be more sure. But yeah, vagus nerve, it's awesome. Lots of cool things that we can do there. The meditation next month will also be a meditation where we activate the vagus nerve. So although anytime you meditate, you're activating the vagus nerve. So so I guess we did that already. But anyway, so thank you very much, and I will see you next month. Dr. Gretchen is next week, and yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, wherever you happen to be. And I'm gonna get rid of that Christmas tree like as soon as I press end. Just now, because now it's bothering me. Now it's a thing, and it's got to go. Anyway, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful day. See you next time. Oh, you're welcome, guys.